to me, wasn't it? Anyway,
back, and of course you've brought in the newest addition to the lean mean grilling machine.
You've never
mastered that. I'm still packing my grill.
And it's the Big George you brought in today.
Yes, the Big George. This is really nice. As you can see, the nice color. It has a temperature control and even a timer. So it's just a reminder that your food is done. And if you want to cook slow, you got to take a shower, you can just slow things down. I'm happy about this. I had a person who couldn't see, really, and they told me the grill works fine, but it will need something to let them indicate, okay, the food is ready.
Yeah.
And the timer wasn't meant for that. Come to find out, it was the exact thing they needed, something to remind them, okay, take the food off. So it's really good.
That's it, because you told us last time you came in, the people stop you at the airport now, and they say, hey, George, and the great fight, and they say, yeah, you're the grill man.
That's right.
Known as the
children stopped me now. I was in Memphis for the Lennox Lewis-Mike Tyson fight, and there were kids being led around by school teachers, and the school teachers saw me walking down the street. Stop, wait. Here, kids, this is George Foreman. You know, he explained to them, he used to be the heavyweight champ, and the little kids, little babies, they said, that's the grill man. didn't even know I have a box. So it's intimidating to see one thing just disappear and overtaken by another like that.
And you do a barbecue as well now, don't you? I saw that. You kind of little, like a sort of barbecue setup. Another George I saw in one.
Yeah, there's a Will It and Grill It on its way. We go outside for barbecuing and then inside as well. But so many times people want to take that clean idea away from home, and we have something for that too.
And not many people know this, but Henry Cooper's got a grill out. Henry Cooper's only good for bloody steaks.
Poor old Henry.
Not true.
What a wonderful guy, though. Great champion and a man he was for boxing.
Oh, yeah.
His name would live for a long time.
But he'd finished, hadn't he, when your paths never quite crossed, although he
really,
famously fought Ali.
No. He was famous for Ali, but we never fought.
We were talking earlier on, a lot of people have been saying, we're saying George is coming in, and we spoke to him last time. We're not in. They say, oh, you know, the Rumble in the Jungle. We're saying, well, no, we kind of talked about that last time. And I'm sure, as much as people think you're the grill man, they also come up and talk about that fight, which is a shame. If it'd been a split decision, if it'd gone the distance, they'd all probably talk about the day you put Frazier on his backside sort of 6 times in 2 rounds. But does it bother you? They always want to talk about a fight that you lost when you won so many of your fights.
It did for a long time. It drove me mad. You lose the heavyweight championship of the world, and it's like you've lost your manhood. I didn't like that. And then Ali standing in the corner screaming, I'm the greatest. I told you. It's not like you want to remember that with fondness. But as the years gone by, and that name in my repertoire, part of my package, has really helped me.
Yeah.
Without it, I couldn't have gone or done some of the things I've just done recently. You keep that name. If you're going to lose to someone, make certain it's one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Now, you talked about going to the Tyson Lewis fight. Do you attend a lot of fights?
I do, because I work with HBO.
Right.
I do the color. Along with Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant, and we sit there and just watch and talk as though we know what we're doing. And we think we know what we're doing.
Well, at least you're qualified.
But I like that. I get a chance to see the big fights. I never would have been ringside for Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson if it had not been for HBO.
Well, there's a rematch clause, and it looks like it's going to happen. But we're wondering over here whether there's the stomach for that, whether people want that, because it was a pretty one-sided fight, and you wonder whether Mike can come back and put a decent fight in.
Well, he didn't fight a smart fight. He attacked and just started following around a puncher. Lennox Lewis can hit. He gives you the impression that he's frail and that he can't punch because of his left jab. But that young man can level you with a right hand as good as anyone I've ever seen in the heavyweight division.
Because we're not sure. We could never really tell, you know, because Lennox has kind of fought at a time when it wasn't the greatest heavyweight division, so it makes it difficult to tell just how great he is.
He is that good, and I've said it, and I'll continue to say it for years, that if you name 3 or 4 of the top heavyweights of all time, you must put Lennox Lewis' name in there. Right. And I haven't said that about any fighter in years. It doesn't matter who it is. And then I say that at home in America, and people say, you can't do that. I said, well, tell me why. No one can come up with a reason to deny that Lennox Lewis is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
I think you'd be very honored to hear you say that.
Yeah. But it's only the truth. If he was in America, if he had been an American all along, he would have already been crowned that.
Yeah.
And we're kind of jealous of him because he's not. Did I say we? I mean, they are.
Have you spoken to Tyson either before or after the fight?
No, I haven't gotten a chance to speak to Tyson. I've seen him around.
Right, he hasn't asked you for advice or anything like that?
No, but he needs to change his style. And that's the rough thing for a guy. He fights one way when you're young. You got a lot of speed and enthusiasm going, and you lose some of the speed. You keep the enthusiasm. You got to change your styles. He has not been able to do that. If he changes his style, he can be very successful and become champion again if Lewis retires.
Had that thing going on where he was used to roll. He used to get inside people and just roll and get, and he didn't do it.
He would do it so quick. He didn't know that you had to change once you start putting on lots of weight, and you got to change.
And he didn't intimidate at all, which was surprising to us. He didn't intimidate.
That's why I can rate Lennox Lewis with Muhammad Ali, because when I fought Muhammad Ali, he wasn't the best fighter. He wasn't the best puncher or boxer, but he was the bravest of all men I've ever met. This man was brave. He wasn't afraid. No matter what you hit him with, he said, well, I'll just be here. He was fighting with Holmes and being beaten round after round, and he was being beaten really terribly in the 7th round, and someone asked him, how did you feel in the 7th round when you were being beat like this? You know what he said? I just felt like I got 5 more to go. That's brave. Now, Lennox Lewis has the same kind of courage. Not only can he punch, but he's a courageous man. He's not afraid to, if you beat him, he said, okay, let's fight again. And I admire that in a man. I admire that. I'll long admire him in the years to come.
You went in the ring with Holyfield, and that must have taken some doing. So that's what I'm
people think it takes a lot of courage, but you got to understand, when I got in the ring with Holyfield, he would stare straight at me. His head was right in my chest.
Yeah,
I was a bigger, stronger man.
Yeah, so he is then as well, didn't he? In the old days.
Yeah.
A few boxing questions, haven't we? We've got a question here from, who's that? Keith in Somerset. He wants to know who your other top fighters are. You said before, apart from Lewis and Ali.
You've got to always put John L. Sullivan in there. He was the first heavyweight champion of all time. Rocky Marciano, retired, undefeated. You never can take him away. I like Joe Louis. Joe Louis was heavyweight champion of the world for a decade or more. No one has ever done anything like that, and he was a smart combination fighter. And Muhammad Ali, because he was a great man, not a great fighter at all, but this great man, you can never say boxing without putting his name in there. And at any point, you can put Lennox Lewis' name above any of them or right under, but you can't take him out of the picture. I mean, I can put John L. Sullivan and Lennox Lewis in there without a blink of the eye.
Joe Louis, we spoke about Joe Louis and the friendship he had with Jesse Owens.
There's a wonderful book out, actually.
Did you meet Joe Louis? Because we were good friends. The Arley camp as well at one point.
Yeah, but Joe Louis and I were very good friends, as a matter of fact. We became very close, very close.
He was a special person, wasn't he, in American sports?
Oh, in sports and everything. What a wonderful man to be around. I spent his last days, even when he became ill, I spent some time at his home with him, and I'd stay with him and read the Bible with him and enjoy Joe Louis.
And so you ride? Do you ride, George?
I do. I love to ride. I ride the big horses, the American Celebrate.
I was going to say, you're a big man. You want to be a pony? Oh, blimey, here comes George.
I've had some of the horses that look so beautiful, and my wife will say, you better let that horse ride you. Don't you get on his back.
But do you enjoy horse racing? Do you kind of...
I do. I love watching the horse races. I do. They're the most beautiful animals in the world. They're thoroughbreds. There's nothing like the thoroughbreds.
You're saying you were tempted when you were in Ireland. You were telling us...
Yeah, I saw some of the great horses, and I was about to buy one. I really wanted to get into it. Every man really would like to stand at the Kentucky Derby one day and say, and the winner and owner and all of that, I still have a desire of that sort, but my wife would not allow me to do it. She said no. Seldom she tells me no, and I had to listen this time.
And one thing I didn't know you'd done so many things in your career, was you did a sitcom. It wasn't that long-lived, but it was a TV sitcom called George. Was that
George, fun? Of all things. It was short-lived, but I was the star of the show, named after me, and it was a very good show, very good show. I enjoyed it. I had, about 12 weeks of work. Hollywood is the hardest work you can get yourself into. They give you these thick pieces of these books that you got to remember every Monday. And you got to memorize all of it. Then they film you with 2 or 3 cameras. Acting is hard. And you see someone who's been successful on television for 3 or 4 years, you can believe that person is tired. They're not glamorous. They're tired.
That's fair enough.
Now, you mentioned earlier on that effectively you didn't really retire. You didn't really fully retire. Would you seriously come back? Would you?
I would. At 55, I'd like to make one more boxing match at the age of 55.
Wow.
I planned on such. That means I've got to keep myself healthy, checking my blood pressure and getting pictures of my heart, and of course running and keeping everything in order. So at 55, I can do it. I'd like to have one more boxing match and end it just like that.
Wow.
Do you ever go in the gym, hit the bag or anything?
I do. I work out in the gym, the treadmill, the punching bag. I haven't sparred recently, actually get into the ring because I don't want to intimidate anyone. People still are, boxers who get in the ring with me are still kind of intimidated. And when you're trying to bring young guys up, you want to build their courage up. You don't want to do anything to dampen their confidence. So I have to stay out of the ring.
You're involved in these gala evenings, but if you saw a young fighter come through that you thought this guy's a prospect, would you get involved in that side of things?
I've done that a couple of times. I see some of the kids who really want to do it. I don't look for potential physically, what they can do attractively. I look at, do they have the desire to work hard? And when I see that, I'll work. That's why I'm putting on the shows, because there are a few kids I've been interested in.
And do you miss the boxing life? I mean, from a young age, you were training every day. You're very kind of regimented fitness. Do you miss that? Because I mean,
what you really miss about boxing are the cuts over your eyes, and the breaking of your nose, and the big swollen lip, and your wife saying, "Give me." You asked for a kiss. She said, "Do I look desperate?" No, I don't miss that.
You don't miss it.
Do I look that desperate?
Well,
No,
I'm surprised you want to come back, because I mean, you don't need to box again.
But there are certain things you want to do. I haven't found anything in my life to be equally as dynamic to me as boxing. The most dynamic and fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life was to push myself up those steps. Your knees are shaking uncontrollably. There's never a time you get in the ring and you're brave about it. Just like the other man is saying, "I wouldn't do that," you say the same thing too. And yet, the bell ring and you're doing it. There's nothing like that challenge. I love it.
So that was George Foreman, Andy. Hopefully he'll come and see us next year when he's over on the Grill Trail.
Yep, another couple of 20 million or so.
Well, 50 million he sold, he says, and he's on, what, say he's on $1 each one. He's not done so bad.
Why so poor?
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, when we come...